YouTube is Carl More Music, and I'm back with another episode of More Mics Please, the Mix Edition. So today we're going to take a look at snare drum and the chain that I use for that. I'm utilizing the HA73 EQ from Heritage Audio as the hardware pre-EQ option, and then the Bluey from Black Lion Audio as the compressor. There aren't that many low shelf frequencies that you can choose, especially for a snare drum on this style of EQ, but I think it's perfect for bringing out the fundamental. Even moving over to the mid frequency section of this EQ, you only get one band, and when I'm looking to notch some stuff out on a snare drum, 360 works, 700 works, that 1.6K works. Like, these are just good starting points, but I think like more than starting points, they'll get you the desired tone that you're looking for. Like I mentioned before, this is the HA73 EQ from Heritage Audio, and their fixed high shelf is at 12K. So when I want some sizzle and all that other stuff, that shimmer, shine, whatever you use to describe that high end, 12K works, and boosting it enough to give me presence and recognition for a snare drum. The Bluey from Black Lion Audio is a Blue Stripe 1176 style compressor, and it gives that mid-range forwardness that we're looking for, at least I'm looking for in my snare drum, and it's aggressive. I do like the wet dry knob so that I can blend the original signal and the process signal together to again get me closer to my desired outcome. I use both of these options on tracking, but I definitely use them in mixing. In addition to this hardware chain, let's find a digital option that can get the job done as well. So one of the things I like about Logic is that you can create track stacks, and for my snare top and snare bottom, I'm just going to do that. That'll sum those two channels into like one bus. I'll typically just call it snares, and then I can process those two channels together. So let's take a listen and see what we want to do as far as subtractive EQ. That's in context. I wanted like kind of a deeper sound and snare. Let's check it out in solo. And I tracked them, so I did flip the phase on the bottom snare. So everything's good there. Back in context. So what I'll say is there is some weird resonant frequency just ringing throughout the snare that I necessarily don't like, and I want to pull some of that out. And then I'll just do a little bit of low end cut, like filter some of that kick drum out. So we'll go back to the Kirchhoff EQ. And I think this thing is great for this type of work. There's not a whole lot of kick drum bleed in this, but there's enough that I would want to like pull some out. So let's just kind of start somewhere and see. Well, let's solo the snares. I don't want to go too high, and it actually wasn't that bad, to be honest. So I don't want to go too high to cut into like the actual tone of the snare, but just to pull something out. Now with my ears, I can hear that resonant frequency, and then with a digital graphic EQ like this, which is, I feel like, the best of both worlds. Like, you use both. Some people say use your ears only, don't use your eyes, and I think you should use both. So there is something like boosted here. Yep, it's saying like 248, almost 250. Go a little higher, like 280. And that has a little bit of boxiness in it too. So we may be able to grab two issues at once. Yeah. So EQ out. EQ in. And context. Okay, so I've got that kind of where I'd like it. Let's see if there's any other frequencies we want to pull out before we add in our HA73 hardware EQ. Mute the snare bottom, because those are those snare bands. And without those, you know, it end up sounding like, to me, it sound like a timbali or like a tom. So you do need the snare bands. uppers. Something about that, like 1.4. It's bothering me just a little bit. All right, so I've got my HA73 routed and patched to the converters. I have an IO plugin set up on my snare top channel, and I don't think it takes long at all to get good snare tones out of this setup. So I'm just going to jump right in. EQ's encaged. I'm going to print these channels so you can hear the adjustments in real time, but let's see what we got. So I like to start between 45 and 50 dB a gain on that saturation because I just like the way it sounds. For some, you can engage the low Z impedance. Like, it's more than just a volume boost. It's imprinting something on the signal itself. But I'll go straight to like 220 to boost some of that like thicker sound, the beefiness of a snare, because I feel like my snare was missing that real quick. It's there, but with that 220, it's filling it out. And then that fixed tie shelf, I think it's 12K. That's just adding that air to the top, a little bit of a snap. Take it out real quick. Put it in real quick. And for me, that's a snare drum that I'm definitely happy with. So let's move over to some compression with the Bluey from Black Lion Audio. So one of the features of the Bluey compressor that I like in addition is the wet dry knob. So again, you can blend in the process signal with the original signal and you can get whatever kind of colors from that you want. We'll start with the kind of 10 on the input, 2 o'clock on the output. The attack is slowed down, so it's not grabbing the transient as fast. And then I do like a faster release. And then, like I said, I will print these changes in real time so you guys can hear the adjustments, and start with a ratio of 4 to 1 and see what we're getting. That's like a whole lot. Again, really. So if I slow down the release, you can tell the sustain of the snare gets longer. Take this loop off. Listen to it. Versus speeding it up, the snare starts to jump with the track. And then if we go to the attack and make it faster, it's still chopping off some of that front transient. With 100% wet. There you go. But this is the kind of combo I like. HA73 style preamp and EQ, and then a Blue Stripe 1176 compressor for the compression on a snare drum. Since I do have a black face here from AudioScape, let's just patch that in and see what that sounds like so we can hear a difference in comparison. But I'm going to print just some of the settings that I actually do like. Okay, so at the top of the episode, I did mention that I wanted to take a look at some digital chains, and we're going to grab a 1073 style EQ from Antelope Audio, and then some of everybody's favorite 76, the Bluey from Waves, the CLA 76. I like it. I don't have any issues with it. You know, again, use what works for you. If it doesn't work, go to something else, but we can definitely achieve a sound that's usable with these digital plugins. So let's take a look at these. I'm gonna turn off the CLA 76 and we'll start just with the BAE 1073 from Antelope. Okay, so again, I like to go into that 200. And their high shelf is actually fixed at 10K. So raise a bit. Let's see it in context. Take the EQ out. EQ in. Same ordeal. Let's turn on our CLA 76, the blue stripe, and they've already got it at the like 10 and 2. Attack is a little faster than I would like, so I'll dial that back and speed up the release. Let's see. Instantly, a bunch of volume boosting. Solo. Pull that trim back a bit. So with that faster attack, take it out solo. I just don't think it has the snap that I like. So putting an attack, right up at 12 o'clock, it's not bad. Same ordeal. Let's see with a slow down release, if it's the similar kind of trait to using the hardware, where we saw that the sustain got a lot longer with a slower release. I feel that instead of the snare dancing. Shoot, while we're in here, let's just look at the black version. We instantly see that there's less gain reduction. When you switch to the Bluey, it's about 4 dB of gain reduction, a little over 3.5. But when you turn to the black face, you're barely getting 1 dB. And I think the low end is actually extended a little bit more on the black. Definitely a lot more spank on the blue. All right, so I think that's a great point to stop this episode. It goes without saying, please like, share, and subscribe, because there's definitely more content coming. In this series, I plan to finish up with the drums and then move on to bass, vocals, reamp keys, just everything I do when I'm working on a mix and how I approach mixes. If this is helping you out at all, if it's giving you any insight, if it's just adding to what you already know, share that information in the comment section, because I do believe we are a community and together we can grow. As I say in every video, and I really mean it, please go out and make some good music.